Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. Caravans, campervans, motorhomes and more. It's the place to get hints, tips and impartial advice from the expert himself, Matt Sims. Brought to you by thatleisureshop.com. Join us on the journey with Motorhome Matt.
Welcome back to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden and with me our expert, Matt Sims.
Great to be here, Keith.
First question, very easy one. How do I make money out of my motorhome?
Through hiring it, I presume you mean. So certainly it's become a hugely popular trend, hasn't it? With lots of people looking to hire a motorhome with prices going through the roof. People are looking to hire rather than buy. We've seen a big boom in the number of motorhomes available for hire in the UK. And there are lots of ways you can do it. Number one, obviously, is you do it yourself. Have it on your drive and you go and buy yourself a pressure washer and a sponge and a J-cloth and actually a massive array of spare parts and components that you're going to need, and you advertise it yourself. You can do that on Facebook Marketplace. You can advertise it on Instagram, and you can reach a local audience who will come and undoubtedly hire the motorhome from you. You need to sort your insurance out. That's a really important factor. There's only really a couple of companies that offer that. Number one being a company called Allen Boswell. There we are, free top tip, and a well-guarded industry secret, that one, which I'm happy to share with you. And you can expect a premium of around £2,000 a year if you're just running one or maybe two motorhomes as you scale things up. So number one is you can do it yourself, do all the marketing yourself, do all the donkey work yourself, all the cleaning, the handovers, and so on. But that does come with some challenges. You know, what happens if it comes back on a Friday evening and the rear bumper's hanging off or missing? What do you do then? It's going out Saturday morning. That's your headache to sort out. And do you have to carry a spare bumper? You have to have a great relationship with a body shop, or worst case, you've got to phone that Saturday morning family and say, I'm really sorry, but it's not available to go. You don't have another motorhome to give them. They have to either cancel their plans or make new plans. So it comes with a big headache, which you have to be prepared to burden yourself and deal with yourself. So it can be done. It isn't straightforward, and it is a huge amount of work.
So let's say I've ruled that option out. It's too much trouble for me. You've dissuaded me. What else can I do? Now I've got my motorhome sitting on the drive, and I really do know I can make some cash out of it.
You definitely can, and I am biased. You are right. I paint a dark picture, but it is a lot of work. You can go halfway house and list it with an agency site who will do all the marketing for you, saving you huge amounts of time. And they'll deal with the customer ID, taking the payment, the customer security bond, all of the legal stuff. So all of that stuff is, costs thousands of pounds to set up. Certainly it did for us as a hire company. And there are companies like Camplify, Camp2, GoBooney, Airbnb, of course. There are many others as well. Google them and search them up, and you'll find your Facebook feed, if you're on Facebook, will flood with all their advertising. And that's a kind of halfway house where they'll send the customer to you, and then you deal with the customer, and you still have to deal with that kind of operational turnaround and maintenance and cleaning. The other option, I refer to it as a third option, I'd call it the first really, is to join our Motorhome Earn programme. So as a motorhome hire company, the secret of our success of scaling up has to have been hiring out other people's motorhomes rather than ones we own. So many of the motorhomes on our own hire fleet are not owned by us. They are third-party owned. Those owners entrust them to us, so we become the custodian of it. We store it, we maintain it, and we hire it out. We do all the marketing. We take care of all the customer ID checks and payments. And then we take care of all the cleaning, all the maintenance, all the handovers, everything. As far as our customer is concerned, it's our motorhome. Though we make no secret of the fact it's not our motorhome. And we do that for good reason, because we want the hirer to have a sense of responsibility for it, that it is actually somebody else's pride and joy. For our owners, all the hassle of ownership is taken away. There's no maintenance, there's no storage, so a huge amount of costs are saved, and they get to use it whenever they wish. So they will book in as a customer would on our online booking system and make a reservation. There's no cost to do it. There are some perks and benefits. If theirs is booked, there's a particular I don't know, folk festival that you want to attend and your motorhome is booked, well, why not go away on another one? And actually one couple have tried 5 different layouts, and they rang me and said, Matt, can we just check that putting our motorhome with you in the Motorhome Earn program that you run means we could try lots of different motorhomes and never use our own. I said, well, you could. And for them, that was a year well spent, because they had a motorhome that they were having an income on, and we share the income 50-50 with the owner. So you would earn less being part of this program, that's true, but you have nothing to do other than own the motorhome. And this one particular couple went off in lots of different layouts, and now they're in a position where they know exactly what layout they want to use and want to have and want to own, and next year they will change the motorhome into the one that's perfect for them. It's a no-hassle way of making money from your motorhome, and of course at the moment there is a huge boom in popularity of motorhome and campervan holidays, and so it's a great time to use this to make some money back from the asset you bought and that you can still enjoy yourself.
This is a tale of 2 motorhomes, Eric and Lucy.
I'm Eric, lonely, tired, neglected, bits falling off.
Lucy here. Life is sweet. I look fabulous. I earn my owners thousands of pounds taking families away for little holidays. And I'm looked after by Motorhome Holiday Company.
Motorhome Holiday Company. No one wants a poor Eric. Let yours be a Lucy. Speak to us about the storage, maintenance and rental of your motorhome. Visit motorhomeholidaycompany.com.
You've talked in the past of the demand for new motorhomes, and eventually people get them after long delays because of manufacture, because of COVID-19 or Brexit or whatever. It doesn't matter. You've been promised it in April, you don't get it till in October. So you want to make some money out of it. Let's get down to brass tacks. How much money can I make?
So how much you use it yourself is going to massively impact that. So if your plan is to have 5 or 6 weeks in July and August with the kids on holiday in it, then that's going to hugely impact your income from it. Other factors will include the layout. So without going into great detail about different types of layout, there are some which are very popular with couples out of the summer season, and some with the same layout could be very popular with families in the summer season. A motorhome like that is going to be busier all year round. Now, we would help advise you on the best types of layout. There are considerations, number of seat belts, for example. I would suggest a minimum of 4, because then you can cater for a family. So in terms of the answer to the question, how much do you earn from it? We typically promise our customers that there's a typical income of between £3,000 and £5,000 being part of Motorhome Earn scheme, and it uncannily always seems to be around 10% of the motorhome's value. I don't know why, it just seems to be that's where it ends up, and that's a good gauge really, and a good indicator of what you can expect to earn. Of course, many motorhomes have been going up in price by 10 or 20%, so you're actually making money when you come to sell it as well. So it's a great way of offsetting your insurance costs. We ask you to insure it for your own use. We ask you to road tax it, again, for your own use. All the other costs are shared 50-50. So if it needs tyres, we pay for half and you pay for half. And of course, remember, we're buying them at trade price as well. So we're saving money that way too. So it's a very, very cost-effective way of having a motorhome and making money from it.
And you've talked in the past about people being emotionally attached to their motorhomes. They might have bought it, as we've discussed as well in the past, from, say, a pension fund. They've got the tax-free payment, been dreaming of a motorhome for all those years, and while you've still got your health and not too old, you can get out there and have great holidays. But this is a business, isn't it? You can't be too attached to Doris or Beryl or Dave or whatever you call your motorhome.
I think if you came to me, Keith, with a motorhome with any of those names, I'd set you straight. But I think if you came to me with a motorhome you'd named, I would ring an alarm bell for you immediately. You cannot have an emotional attachment to it. You can love it, absolutely, but it needs to be seen as a means to a financial gain and end. The first thing I would do is try and put people off putting their motorhome with us to earn money from it. You can imagine the complication that comes if people are too attached. You know, it can't happen. The reality is somebody else is going to sleep in it, somebody else is going to use the toilet, and somebody else is going to cook in it. and miles are going to be put on it. You're going to use a motorhome 4 or 5 times a year. We're going to put it out on hire, and it's going to be used for maybe 15, 20 or even more weeks of the year, certainly weekends of the year, throughout the year. So its wear and tear is going to be speeded up. That's a given. But the first question would be, how attached are you to this vehicle? And the only way it can work is if you are not attached to a point where you're giving it a name.
For a different type of holiday, why not try a motorhome? At the Motorhome Holiday Company, we have a range of luxury motorhomes available to hire for weekends or longer breaks. Experience the freedom and excitement of the open road with all the comfort of home while you're on the move, whatever the weather or time of year. For details and to check your dates, visit motorhomeholidaycompany.com. The Motorhome Holiday Company. Your adventure starts here.
Clearly, the motorhomes are looked after are in great condition. You know, when I look at the lot here at the Motorhome Company, you can see they're all very well looked after and look brand new. But are people as fussy about motorhomes as they are, say, about when they rent a flat out? You know, no pets, no smoking, etc., etc.
We're led by them, really. So some of our motorhomes aren't pet-free. They choose not to allow, and we ask you to choose. Are you happy to allow pets in it? We have one owner that says, well, I'm not very keen, but just don't tell me. Others we don't allow to Europe. I mean, at the moment, European travel is restricted, so none of our motorhomes can go. But some we don't allow to Europe, and there are lots of reasons why that might be. Other owners might be concerned about mileage. So we have a vehicle that's got particularly higher than average miles on it. So we will start to monitor the trips that are being booked in it, and we will manage that accordingly with the owner. All of our motorhomes are no smoking, no vaping. That's a terms and conditions of hire in it, or indeed just outside of it. And there are financial penalties for the hirer if we find that there's been smoking or any kind of other activity that we don't allow going on in it. So we'll work with the owner to create a higher profile for that vehicle that's a good fit and is going to work for everyone.
So the key is, so long as you're not too fussy, you can be certain that the motorhome is going to be looked after, you're going to maintain it, you're going to hire it out to people. There's a good solid contract. So actually it's a pretty low risk.
It is low risk. There is a risk. At the end of the day, it's going to be driven on the roads, perhaps by somebody who's never driven a motorhome before, and increasingly that's a trend. We take out the hire insurance, which can be a premium as much as £2,000 per vehicle. We have a fleet policy which covers them all, and we fit trackers and immobilizers that can be activated remotely as well. So if we think one's getting on a ferry and they haven't got permission to head to France or head to Ireland, we can remote disable the starter motor at the press of a button. And we keep a close eye on all of these things. So we do look after the asset, and we do treat them as if they were our own. There is an element of risk, as there is however you choose to hire out a motorhome, in the same way as you choose to hire out a flat or a cottage. There's always the risk of damage. We hold a bond from the hire customer of £1,000. We have a set of really quite robust and reasonable terms and conditions, which means any damage is paid for by the hirer, and we endeavour to get things resolved and sorted as quickly as possible to ensure that motorhome stays in tip-top condition. And you mentioned earlier, Keith, about their condition. We've had motorhomes that have been on hire with us for 3 years. We then come to sell it for the owner, and a viewer has said, is this brand new? And this motorhome has got maybe 30,000 miles on it and has been a very active motorhome on our hire fleet, and people still think they're brand new. Come and have a look at them. Come and see for yourself. We really do take care of them, and we take a huge pride in their condition. And another question we often get asked is, how old can the motorhome be that we would wish to put on our hire fleet? Well, typically we say up to 5 years old. The reason we say that is that's normally about wear and tear and mileage and so on, and also the trims and the finishes inside of them. So 5 years ago, motorhomes went through quite a big transition of change. There was a lot of new features added, a lot of modernisation in the technology within them that we're keen that we feature. And so even basic things like air conditioning in the cab, you now wouldn't expect to see a motorhome without that. That's a fairly recent inclusion as standard. So those types of features we always look for. Condition is absolutely paramount, along with your emotional detachment from it.
And who was to know there's a Matt Sims eye in the sky that can switch the motorhome off if somebody's being naughty?
They call me Big Brother.
Well, from me, Keith Gooden, and Big Brother, Matt Sims, thanks for listening to another Motorhome Matt podcast. Come back to us for some more episodes in the very near future. Thanks for listening to the Motorhome Matt podcast. Remember to check back here for more episodes full of hints and tips and helpful advice. We'll see you soon for another Motorhome Matt podcast, brought to you with thatleisureShop.com.